Hello and welcome to my Mr. Pandaria Unholy Death Knight skill breakdown. In this video I'm going to try to explain the active and passive spells of an Unholy Death Knight as implemented in the Mist Beta. Now remember, beta is beta and subject to major changes at any time. In the background, my DK will be going through the rotation described later in the video. I haven't spent too much time in front of the target dummies, so as always, the rotation is sloppy and could use some practice. Up on the screen are tooltips of the main spells and effects of an Unholy Death Knight taken directly from the beta client. These will not be up throughout the explanation, but feel free to pause the video to read through them. First, your master increases all of your shadow damage done to a target. Ebon Plaguebringer stacks with this effect, and buffs your damage dealt with diseases by 60%, as well as causing Blood Plague to increase all physical damage done to the target by 4%. Sudden Doom reduces the cost of Death Coil by 20% and gives your auto attacks a chance to make your next Death Coil free. Note that this effect only applies to your main hand weapon. Shadow Infusion causes your Death Coils, whether it is used for healing or damaging a target, to give your ghoul a stacking buff that increases its damage dealt by 10%. This effect stacks up to 5 times. Unholy Presence now increases attack speed and rune regeneration by 20% and movement speed by 15%. Rounding out your passive effects, every Death Knight has a talented rune regeneration effect that works off of your spec's main runic power dump. I've chosen Runic Corruption for this video, which gives your Death Coil, Frost Strike, or Rune Strike a 45% chance to speed up rune regeneration for about 2 seconds, which is affected by haste. Outbreak is still the same spell as in Cataclysm and applies your diseases to a target for no cost. This has a 1-minute cooldown. Scourge Strike is a mainstay of Unholy and hasn't changed from its previous incarnation. This melee attack deals physical damage as well as dealing an additional 18% of that as shadow damage for each disease you have on a target. This spell costs a single Unholy rune. Death Coil has also changed little, and can either deal damage to an enemy or heal a friendly undead target in exchange for runic power. Remember that the range on this spell changes depending on if you're damaging or healing your target. Festering Strike is your other melee ability as an Unholy Death Knight, costing 1 Blood Rune and 1 Frost Rune. This attack deals damage, but also increases the duration of Blood Plague, Frost Fever, and Chains of Ice on your target by up to 6 seconds. Horn of Winter is the same spell it's always been, and generates 10 runic power and buffs party and raid members with increased attack power. Finally, Dark Transformation has also not changed, and consumes 5 charges of the Shadow Infusion effect on your ghoul and 1 Unholy Rune to transform your pet for 30 seconds. Your pet also has different abilities and deals more damage while transformed. Now onto the rotation I've been able to puzzle out. Please note that this may not be the most effective rotation, and should be considered a starting point for people new to the class. Before the fight, make sure that your pet is summoned. As you run into melee range, pop Outbreak and Horn of Winter. Once in melee range, alternate casting Scourge Strike and Festering Strike until you are out of runes, and then cast Death Coil until you are out of runic power. Casting Festering Strike causes your Blood and Frost runes to become Death runes, which can be used as any type. Once you have runes again, spam Scourge Strike like your life depends on it, and then go back to spamming Death Coil. Once your ghoul has 5 stacks of Shadow Infusion, use your next Unholy Rune to pop Dark Transformation. From here, you basically have 2 phases in your rotation. The first is when you have no Death runes. That's when you use Festering Strike to convert all of your Blood and Frost runes into Death runes. The second phase is when you have a full set of Death and Unholy runes. This is where you spam Scourge Strike until all your runes are on cooldown. Remember to pop both Outbreak and Horn of Winter on cooldown, as Horn of Winter gives you free runic power, and Outbreak applies the physical damage debuff back to the target. Overall, Unholy DKs have changed little in this expansion, still bringing hard-hitting diseases and terrifyingly powerful pets to a fight. Please thumbs up if you liked this video, and subscribe to my channel to be notified when I release more content. My name is VorpalStick, and this has been my Unholy Death Knight skill breakdown.